Have you ever felt like you're constantly giving pieces of yourself to people who wouldn't do the same for you? Maybe it's in a relationship where you're always the one compromising, or in a friendship that feels one-sided. It's exhausting, isn't it? Feeling like you're pouring your energy into a black hole and still wondering why you don't feel seen or appreciated. Here's the funny thing. It's not just them, it's us too. We hold on because we think that if we try harder, care more, or give just a little extra, things will change. But ask yourself, at what cost? How many times have you sacrificed your peace, your happiness, and even your sense of self for the sake of someone else's comfort or approval? This is where detachment changes the game. Detachment isn't about giving up on people or becoming emotionally numb. It's about setting yourself free. It's realizing that you don't have to carry the weight of everyone else's expectations. You don't have to fight for space in someone else's mind or heart. When you learn to let go, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, you reclaim something priceless: your energy, your time, and most importantly, yourself. In this video, we're going to explore how to detach from others, stop overcaring, and build a life where your peace doesn't depend on anyone else. It's not easy, but the freedom it brings, that's where happiness begins. Before we begin, please subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing videos like this. Let's get started. Why caring too much is draining you. We've been taught to care since the moment we could understand what it meant. Be kind, be thoughtful, put others first. And while there's nothing wrong with compassion, somewhere along the way, we crossed a line. We started carrying not just our emotions, but everyone else's too. Their problems, their opinions, their expectations. They piled up, leaving you running on empty. Think about how often you let someone else's mood dictate yours. A rude comment ruins your entire day. A silent treatment from a loved one makes you spiral into self-doubt. It's as if we've handed over the keys to our happiness to anyone who crosses our path. And the worst part? Most of them don't even realize they're holding that kind of power over you. They're just living their lives, while you're stuck overthinking every glance, every word, every perceived rejection. The hard truth is that caring too much is like trying to fill a bucket with no bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it'll never be enough because it's not your bucket to fill. Marcus Aurelius, in all his Stoic wisdom, put it perfectly. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. His words are a reminder that life is fleeting, and wasting it on people or situations that drain us is the ultimate loss. Detachment isn't about shutting people out. It's about stepping back and asking yourself, is this worth my peace? Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion needs a response, and not every person deserves your energy. The moment you start seeing your time and peace as sacred, you'll realize how much of it you've been giving away for free and how much of it you can reclaim. The act of not caring is often misunderstood. It's not about being reckless or indifferent to everything and everyone. It's about being deliberate with where you choose to invest your energy. In a world that demands so much from us, our attention, our time, our emotions, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. Everyone wants a piece of you. But here's the question you need to ask yourself: who deserves it? Think of life like a garden. You have a bunch of plants, different relationships, responsibilities, obligations. Now imagine you have limited water to give. You can't water every single plant in your garden. Some of them are thriving on their own, some need constant attention, and others might even be draining your resources without giving anything back. If you try to water every plant equally, none of them will grow the way you want them to. You'll run out of energy before you even start to see results. So the key is to focus on the plants that truly matter, the ones that align with your values, the ones that bring you joy, growth, and fulfillment. This concept of prioritization is crucial to learning how to detach. Think of it this way: you can't control the weather in your garden, just like you can't control other people's reactions or opinions. The soil might not be perfect, pests may show up, and sometimes it rains when you least expect it. But you can control how much water and care you give to each plant. You can choose where to direct your time and energy. The same applies to your life. You can't control how others behave or think, but you can control your response to them, your reactions, your focus, your boundaries. That's where your power lies. The most difficult part might be learning to say no without guilt. This doesn't mean becoming cold-hearted or selfish. It means recognizing that your time is valuable. When you say no to things that drain you, you're not rejecting the person or the request. You're protecting your mental and emotional resources. You're choosing to invest your energy where it matters most. And that's a game changer. When you start identifying what aligns with your values, you become selective about what gets your energy. Is this request, this relationship, this obligation serving you? Does it bring you closer to your goals, or does it pull you away from them? This process of intentional living is what detachment is all about. It's about creating space in your life for what you actually care about, instead of wasting time and energy on things that are just taking up room. The art of not caring is learning to say no without regret, without guilt, and with complete clarity. It's about understanding that not everything and everyone deserves a seat at your table. You can't be everything to everyone, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Your energy, your time, and your mental well-being are sacred. And when you start investing them wisely, you'll find that the things that truly matter will thrive. We've all been there, feeling the pull to bend over backward in a relationship to make someone else happy. Whether it's constantly seeking reassurance from a partner, giving up your own interests to accommodate theirs, or sacrificing your peace to avoid conflict, emotional dependence in relationships can easily take root. At first, it feels like love. You want to show you care, to meet their needs. But soon, this dependence starts to erode your own sense of self. The love you give feels conditional, like you're constantly performing to earn it. And when it's not returned in the way you expect, you're left feeling drained, unseen, and frustrated. Emotional dependence comes from the belief that your happiness is tied to someone else's behavior or approval. The more you seek reassurance, the more you give up your own needs, and the more you sacrifice yourself, the more fragile your relationship becomes. It's as though you're building a house on quicksand. No matter how much you give, the foundation isn't strong enough to stand over time. This dynamic only breeds resentment and dissatisfaction for both parties. The truth is that detachment strengthens relationships. Yes, you heard that right. When you stop seeking validation from others, you stop operating out of desperation. And when that desperation is removed, something beautiful happens. Respect flourishes. Think about the most fulfilling relationships in your life. Are they the ones where you feel free to be yourself, or the ones where you feel like you're constantly performing to meet someone's expectations? True love isn't about losing yourself in the other person. It's about showing up as your best self without fear of judgment or rejection. When you detach, you bring a sense of calm, emotional security, and mutual respect into the relationship. You no longer need to beg for attention or constantly worry about losing them. Instead, you both can love each other without the weight of expectations. One of the core aspects of detachment in relationships is setting healthy boundaries. And here's the reality. It's not your job to save, fix, or please anyone but yourself. In our society, we're often taught to give everything to others, to be selfless and accommodating, sometimes at the cost of our well-being. But this isn't sustainable. Healthy relationships are built on respect for your own needs and respect for the needs of others. If you're constantly trying to save someone or fix their problems, you're doing them a disservice. They need to take responsibility for their own growth, just as you do for yours. So how do you practice detachment in relationships without sacrificing love or connection? Start by focusing on your own growth. Keep nurturing your passions, goals, and hobbies. Make sure that you're still developing as an individual outside of the relationship. When you invest in your own life, you bring a sense of fulfillment and independence into your connection. You'll no longer rely on the relationship to complete you because you're already whole. Clear communication is another essential tip. Let your partner know what you need from the relationship, but also be open to hearing their needs. Detachment isn't about being cold or distant. It's about communicating your desires, setting your boundaries, and respecting each other's space. It's important to understand that relationships aren't about sacrificing your own happiness to keep someone else happy. They're about growing together, not losing yourself in the process. Lastly, embrace impermanence. Nothing in life lasts forever, and neither do relationships. People change, circumstances shift, and sometimes relationships run their course. When you detach, you start to accept that love doesn't need to be forever to be meaningful. Loving someone fully and completely doesn't mean holding on tightly. It means being open to what they bring into your life at the moment and appreciating it for what it is. By embracing impermanence, you free yourself from the anxiety of needing to control the relationship's outcome, allowing love to flow freely without pressure. Detachment in relationships doesn't mean withdrawing emotionally or stopping love. It means loving without losing yourself. When you stop relying on someone else to define your worth, you create a space where both partners can be their true selves, free from fear, guilt, or manipulation. By setting boundaries, focusing on your own growth, and accepting the impermanence of life, you build stronger, healthier relationships that stand the test of time. Stop letting others define you. We all like praise. It's natural. Whether it's compliments from friends or applause after a performance, it feels good to be admired. On the other hand, criticism can hurt deeply. A harsh word from a colleague or someone we care about can feel like a punch. We end up letting both praise and criticism control our emotions. When we seek approval from others, we lose our sense of self. Our happiness becomes dependent on their opinions, and we're constantly chasing their approval. This is where Stoicism can help. The philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Stoicism teaches us to detach from praise and criticism and focus on our own values. Instead of letting praise define you or criticism break you, ask yourself, what do I stand for? When you focus on growing yourself from within, you stop relying on the opinions of others. To practice detachment from praise and criticism, the first step is to pause before reacting. When someone praises you, don't let it make you feel too good. And when someone criticizes you, don't let it upset you for too long. Acknowledge what's being said, but remember, it's just one person's opinion. Your worth is not based on what others think. You can also practice detachment by being neutral. Distance yourself emotionally and ask, what do I think about this? Is the praise earned, or is it just their mood? Is the criticism helpful, or does it come from their insecurities? By focusing on your own understanding of your worth, you stop letting others' opinions affect you. Remember, others' opinions reflect more about them than about you. Someone who criticizes others is showing their own insecurities. Someone who gives praise without meaning may have their own reasons. No matter what they say, it's their perspective, not your truth. Here's a simple exercise. Next time someone praises or criticizes you, take a moment to reflect before responding. Think about whether it aligns with your beliefs and whether it affects your self-worth. If it does, ask yourself why. If it doesn't, let it pass. With time, you'll notice that external opinions won't have as much power over you. You'll be able to accept praise without needing it and handle criticism without letting it bother you. By focusing on your inner strength instead of external validation, you'll find peace and start living for yourself. In the end, your happiness comes from how you view yourself, not from what others think of you. When you stop trying to please everyone and care too much about what others think, something amazing happens. You start caring for yourself in a better way, not by being cold, but by valuing and prioritizing your own well-being. This is the real meaning of detachment. It's about respecting yourself. When you stop trying to please everyone, something amazing happens. You start caring for yourself. It's not about being selfish, but about knowing your own worth and protecting your peace. Constantly trying to meet others' expectations can make you lose yourself. Over time, this leads to burnout, frustration, and a sense of losing who you are. You give so much of yourself, but still feel invisible. Think about how often you've sacrificed your own needs just to make someone else happy. Maybe it's been for a partner, family member, or friend. You may have convinced yourself that their happiness was more important than yours. But this constant self-sacrifice drains you and leaves you feeling empty. When you care too much about others, you stop caring enough about yourself. It might seem noble at first, but it takes away your energy and distorts who you are. The key to finding peace is to stop trying to please everyone. Once you stop letting others take your energy, you can focus on what you need and what makes you happy. It's about protecting your peace, not shutting people out. Self-respect means setting boundaries and knowing when to walk away from situations that aren't good for you. Think about how much energy you spend trying to meet other people's expectations. Detaching from this need gives you the strength to decide what's truly worth your time and energy. It's about saying no when you need to, even if it feels uncomfortable. It's about creating space for yourself without feeling guilty, and remembering that your happiness doesn't depend on others' approval. Walking away from situations that drain you doesn't make you a bad person. It means you respect yourself and want to protect your peace. Whether it's ending a toxic friendship or distancing yourself from negativity, detachment lets you focus on your own growth. It's not about rejecting others, but preserving your own well-being. Choosing detachment opens up space for better relationships that align with your values. When you stop caring so much about pleasing others, you'll be able to love and care in a way that matters without losing yourself. Self-respect is about valuing yourself and understanding that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. When you stop worrying about others' opinions, you reclaim your peace and power to live on your own terms. Detachment brings freedom that you can only understand once you experience it. It's not about running away or ignoring your feelings, but about making space for yourself. Imagine waking up every day free from the pressure of other people's expectations. Detachment offers peace of mind, emotional clarity, and the strength to handle judgment without it affecting you. When you stop needing others' approval, you stop reacting to every comment or opinion. You begin to live life with inner strength, guided by your own values. Emotional resilience becomes your strength, and you can bounce back more easily because you no longer rely on others to tell you who you are or what you should be. Think about what relationships or opinions you are holding on to right now. What part of you is still seeking approval or avoiding judgment? Imagine how light and free you'd feel if you let go of that attachment. Detachment isn't about being heartless. It's about protecting yourself from outside distractions and choosing where to invest your energy. It's about setting boundaries so you can engage with others without losing yourself. Detachment is a skill that takes practice but can transform your life. The more you let go of things that don't align with your values, the more you empower yourself to be your true self. Not caring isn't about rebelling. It's about respecting yourself and saying, "I won't let anyone take my peace or joy." When you stop caring so much about what others think, you make room for growth, creativity, and living with purpose. You become someone who chooses their path, not someone constantly reacting to the world. Detachment gives you back control of your life. So what will you choose today? Will you keep holding on to things that drag you down, or will you start practicing the freedom that comes with letting go? In a world where we're told to care about others' opinions, learning to detach and focus on yourself can change everything. It's not selfish. It's about understanding that your peace and self-worth come from within, not from others. Detachment frees you from the emotional roller coaster of validation and helps you focus on what truly matters. The more you let go of unnecessary baggage, the more space you make for happiness and freedom.